Today we'll be looking at working with Descriptive Flexfields and More4apps. Let's get started by looking at the user form layout. With all the wizards and some of the loaders, we provide a user form for the DFF. It replicates what Oracle provides, and you'll notice the name of the label for the DFF lines up with the attribute, and the attributes are the columns that you see in the spreadsheet. If we look at this and we want to change the context, you can. If you've got multiple DFF contexts, you can select one like we are here, and when we change it, you'll notice another field appears. So you can use this with multiple contexts. If you are trying to do multiple contexts within the same spreadsheet, you pretty much have to leave the labels as is. You can delete the attributes you're not using. So in our example, we're only using attribute 1, 2, 3, and 10. We can delete 4 through to 9. So let's use the data entry form. In our example here, we have two freeform fields, attribute 1 and 3, and a date picker for attribute 2. And by pressing the OK button, the data is then applied to the spreadsheet. By default, the context is equal to your default context. However, you may choose to use a different context. We change the context and press the change button. And you'll see that attribute 10, allowable for export, has popped up. You'll notice that this is a list of values. More4apps supports all list of value types with the DFFs. And you can see the data has now been applied to the worksheet. Now let's spend a bit more time on the spreadsheet layout. You can copy and paste just like any other fields with More4apps, rows, etc. In this example here, we're just using the standard data entry. We're going to put a context in, and we're going to set an attribute value. We're not using the user forms. Obviously those are optional, but here we're just pasting from other records and rows and creating the additional DFF information. We can then select these records and we can do a validate or an upload. In this case we'll do a validate. More4apps validates the data in the spreadsheet before it calls any interface or API. So we're running through the validation process now. And if we scroll to the left, we can see here by the status they've all validated. Let's introduce some errors to show how the errors are shown within the spreadsheet. I'll change the date to be an invalid date and set attribute 10, that's a list of values, to the value of maybe, where valid values are yes and no. We run through the validation. The wizard highlights the invalid data. Now of course we can just type over that data. Now we know it's correct. Let's just upload our records. In our example here, we'll end up loading 3 sales orders, and we'll see here on the left that they've been accepted. We can select these orders and we can download them, and when you download, you'll get the DFF information back into the worksheet. Again, scrolling to the right, we'll see the DFF fields here have been populated. With some of the wizards, there's the option to use templating. Here's an example from the sales order wizard. Here I've renamed the columns, and I've done this by using a template. So if we select Manage Templates, and we're just going to select a template that I've already created. You could create a new one here. And then we're just going to edit by sheet. And the custom view label is what we rename our fields to. Now obviously this works well if you've only got a single context, or multiple contexts but the same DFFs just being added like we have with our example. If you're using multiple contexts where the DFFs are completely different, then you'd want to use different templates. So let's load and save our template. We'll select another template that I've created just to show you how you can populate that additional attribute. And from this, attribute 10 has been also added. Now for a user to use these templates, you select the template and you just press create new, and this will create a new spreadsheet layout, and you'll see those DFF columns have been renamed. As I said earlier, not all wizards have this functionality. For some, you just have to put a label above the attribute fields, and this is also another way that you could do it. If you've got multiple contexts, you could just keep putting different labels above with each context. And that's our training session on DFFs. Thanks for watching this video.